Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla stock, let's go over the market, let's talk about what is happening and what we can expect moving forward and all of that good stuff. It's a pretty big week, of course. Wednesday we can, or at least most likely are getting the first rate cut. So the question is it 25 basis points, 50? Some people are even saying a 75 basis points cut. Doubt that, but we'll see. Big week. Let's talk about it and I'll give you my thoughts moving forward. So with all that being said and done, if you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. It does help a lot. I would appreciate it. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section is live on YouTube. That link is down below, where I every single day give you my thoughts on Tesla and sometimes the broader market as a whole every single day. Just pretty much up-to-date thoughts pretty much as the market is trading. So if you're interested in that, link is below. Just $2.99 a month, or for $5 a month, you get access to all of that, plus my daily thoughts on NVIDIA, again, as the market is trading and as NVIDIA is trading. But jumping into it, Tesla closing the day down, unfortunately, 1.5%, closing at 226.5, we'll say, dollars per share, which compared to the market, maybe a slight underperformance, but nothing, completely crazy, nothing just, heartbreaking, we'll say. So let's talk about what I personally foresee happening with Tesla. And there's an easy picture and there's a difficult picture, right? So let's go over the easy picture first. Let's give just the general points, like the general basic stuff out of the way, and then we'll kind of dive deeper into it, right? So the very basic stuff that I see right now are two main things, I would say, right? There's a slightly more bearish POV and slightly more bullish POV. The bearish POV is the fact that, well, like I've said many times and I will continue saying, we're pretty much creating this massive bear flag. Massive bear flag. We've been trading in it. Massive move down. That's the pull, and then we're kind of zigzagging up in this bear flag, slowly kind of going down on volume. The volume is actually kind of steady. I'll be completely honest. Maybe not really slowing down in volume. I mean, today was pretty low volume, and actually today is very low volume. Yesterday was pretty low, but especially today's low volume. So in other words, we're pretty much just kind of trading within this bear flag, and then, there's a potential that we just fall out like this. And, and I think if Tesla loses the bottom of this trend line of this bear flag, it's most likely going to trend downwards for the next several weeks. And there's a decent chance it actually comes all the way down to about 170-ish, in my opinion, per share. That would be my target, because that would essentially play out this bear flag, if not lower to 150. In other words, if we lose this bottom trend line, which pretty much will be somewhere around 219, 220, really anytime this week, that's bad. Let's just say that. That's not good. That will be bad. That'll be bearish. Very bearish, in my opinion. So that's the main thing I'm looking at on the bearish aspect. Now, the bullish aspect is the fact that, well, this could just be an ascending triangle. If I remove the top of this right here and you take a look at this little section here, I'm going to remove it and I'll just draw like this. So it's a bit easier to kind of see what I'm talking about, right? You can make an argument, the fact that, we are actually in an ascending triangle that looks something like this, right? As we're making higher lows, equal highs. And, usually what these ascending triangles are is, well, it's a bullish pattern, right? Let me ascending triangle, just you get an idea what it looks like. Okay, well, this is not, actually, yeah, this one here, right? Ascending triangle, right? You kind of make equal highs, then you constantly make higher lows, and then ultimately you kind of get, squished into this little tight section over here. And then not always, of course, I want to make it very clear, just because this is a bullish pattern, it is a bullish pattern, and it does have, in my opinion, a higher chance of activating the bullish aspect of it. It doesn't mean it has to be, right? It can absolutely still fall down below the wedge, below the bottom trend line, and, well, that's obviously bearish. So just keep that in mind. That's another perspective, right? That's another way to look at it, right? But the point I'm trying to make here is, regardless of which pattern you're looking at, regardless if it's a bear flag or an ascending wedge or ascending triangle, irrelevant. Why? Because the levels remain the same. The horizontal levels pretty much remain the same. 220, pretty much, the level, right? That's where the 21 EMA is as well. And above us, 232 or 3 to as high as about 235, that $2 to $3 range, pretty much just an absolutely massive brick wall. Tesla needs to break above that, right? If it can't break above that, it'll break below 220. If it can't break below 220, it'll break above 235. One of those will happen, is what I'm trying to say. One of these levels will crack. Who knows which one? Who knows when? But one of them will crack. And once one of them cracks, that move next will follow. Again, like I said, if we lose 220s, I personally believe this will be a massive bear flag. We'll play it out and probably see 170 to as low as 150 in several weeks, right? Like a couple months. If we break above 235 roughly, and we start closing daily candles above 235, I think Tesla will most likely come up to, at the very least, probably close to this gap till around the mid to low 240s, which unfortunately can still technically have this bear flag valid, right? Because this bear flag will look something like this, right? I'll draw it like further up like this, right? The bear flag will look something like this. And essentially what that would do is, let's say we come down a little bit lower, but let's say we hold, we hold like this, right? We can make our way back up like this, and it'll be somewhere around here. go to the top, get very close, if not gap fill, pretty much still technically contained within this bear flag. And then ultimately there's still a chance that we do this, right? So that's kind of our main concern, right? So as long as we're within this bear flag, again, I still view it as a bear flag. As long as we're within it, there is still a chance that Tesla is bearish and it will play out that bear flag, even if we still make that one leg higher to, low to mid 240s. That is still, in my opinion, a possibility. That's the basics, right? That's pretty much the basic stuff I'm looking at moving forward. Now, let's dive into a little bit more in detail as to why I personally believe that even if Tesla goes up to 240, 3, somewhere around there, there's still some, signs of concern. Even at the level it's trading at right now, there's some signs of concern. Currently, I am waiting for closer to 220 and the 21 EMA, which again, around 220, give or take, before I enter like a long trade position. I do have shares on my second account that I'm trying my very best not to trade or hold or sell. That's like my, I have them from like the 160s. I'm just holding those. I'm trying my best just to continue holding and not get, too min-max with these trading sometimes that I like to do, which is kind of annoying. It's a bad habit. I get too min-maxy sometimes. It's not good. Anyway, what was I saying? I was saying, yeah, so the daily chart, right? Again, I want to see closer to 220 to get a better risk versus reward entry point for a potential move up to about 240s, right? I think that's where it is. But if we lose the 220, that's obviously really bad. But the daily chart, the indicators down here is what I want to kind of bring your attention to moving forward, right? And this is where I'm getting a little bit, I don't know, not necessarily like bearish or anything like that, but it's making me wonder, like, if we can't make a move soon above this 233, 235, that general range, if we can't get above that sooner than later, I do fear the fact that these indicators will get less or more weak and less bullish. For instance, the MACD today, right? It's still bullish. It's still cross bullish. I'll make that very, very clear. But, it's starting to show those lower highs again, right? On the daily charts, show that to me, telling me the fact that the bullish momentum, it's slowing down a little bit, right? RSI still looks pretty decent, but if it gets any lower, for instance, below this yellow line, that's going to be showing me a little bit more signs of, the bullish momentum slowing down. But my main two indicators that I personally really like, stochastic being absolutely one of them, still cross bullish, which is why I'm not saying it's bearish or anything yet, right? I'm not saying it necessarily even will be. There's still a chance it doesn't, but you can see it's flattening out. It is in overbought territory slightly, but it is flattening out. And if I see this starting to cross to the bearish side on the stochastic, well, that's even further going to give me confirmation the fact that, the bulls are definitely losing steam here and the bears are starting to come back in. Same with the BX trender. You can see it made a fresh lower high, right? So just these signs are just showing to me that, hey, the bullish momentum, it's a little bit drying up, right? It's drying up a little bit. It's still there and the bulls are still in control, but, obviously at some point, right? The only way for these to cross to the bearish side, which at some point they will, whether it's now, whether it's at 240, whatever, at some point these indicators will actually cross to the bearish side. We'll see, this red little, this green band currently will turn red like it did back here, for instance, on the BX trend, right? Like these things will eventually turn bearish. It's not, Tesla's not just going to go up from here and never go back down again, of course, but obviously in order for them to turn bearish, right, you need the momentum to start slowing down from that bullish perspective. And, these are the first signs I'm seeing that can potentially start hinting the fact that, hey, we're potentially, moving towards that direction now, right? Doesn't mean it will, and doesn't mean it has to, but those are just the first signs, right? So we'll see. That again, to me, this just means the fact that if Tesla is going to make this move higher to, let's say, low to mid 240s, I'd want to see it sooner than later, personally, right? Can happen, absolutely. Probably this week is when I'd want to see it, right? So again, if I had to take a stab, right, if I had to just throw it out there and just kind of, give you my personal thoughts as to what I personally think will happen over the next 1 to 2 weeks, let's say. I personally believe that 1 to 2 weeks will look something like this. I think tomorrow, maybe the day after, I don't know, Wednesday, maybe, first half of the day, I think we'll go lower. I think we will go lower. I think we'll go to like 221, 220, something like that. Come to the bottom of this, wedge down here. Once again, 21 EMA, etc. And I think from there we'll hold. And I actually think we'll bounce. And I actually think Tesla will have a nice little rally from here for about 220 to about 240, right? Which even from that alone is like a 10, 11% rally, which is pretty good, man. That's a pretty damn respectable rally. That's kind of what I foresee moving forward, right, for Tesla. But ultimately, I personally still foresee us doing something like this, right? I do still personally think that this bear flag will play out, even if we most likely get that move to the mid to low 240s, which I actually think is going to happen personally. But that's where I'm going to be starting to get really laser focused on watching this level up here if we do get up here, right? That's going to be where things will get very interesting, because again, if this plays out the way I think it may, this can be a top, or like this general vicinity can be a top for the foreseeable, not for the first, I don't want to say for the foreseeable future, it makes it sound like it'll be years ahead, but for like the next few months, man, like for the next few months for sure, I think this has a potential to being like a massive, like short to medium term top, right, for Tesla, which is why that level is gonna be really important. One possibility is the fact that Tesla just says, never mind, and it does this, goes up here, maybe comes back down a little bit to retest, this 235, which will actually coincide pretty well with the retest in the bottom of this trend line. But then ultimately, it can actually bounce from here and maybe go higher. And maybe it even breaks out of the top of this bear flag trend line, right? The top of the range, essentially, and goes higher. That is a possibility. Just because it's a bear flag, like I said, it doesn't mean it has to play out to the bearish side. It's just a higher probability in my perspective, in my opinion. It doesn't have to. So again, there's just a lot of ways to look at it. But essentially, for now, I'll be looking at a move most likely up to 240s first. I think that's going to happen. Ideally, it comes down to 220s closer first, holds, bounces, and then crashes. That's my current main perspective on Tesla moving forward for the next few weeks until, like, let's say early to mid-October. Here, rate cuts, bam, we rally. We're now currently, let's say, 1 or 2 weeks into October, and then we fall. That's just my current perspective. We'll see if that happens or not. Maybe it doesn't happen. Maybe we just go straight down. Who knows? Just watch the levels, let the levels decide for you. And in my opinion, wait for daily closures. You'll see why in the NVIDIA video coming up, why daily closures are important, not to give you false flags. But yeah, in terms of options flow, pretty slow day in the options flow today. I mean, you can literally count them on like on this one screen how many options flow came in on Tesla. I started bearish, ended up being pretty bullish, but extremely slow options flow on Tesla today. Really just the market in general. But according to Black Box, Tesla, actually, never mind, it fixed. Only 14 million bearish flow, so the bulls maybe are stepping out. We'll see. But yeah, very, very slow options day today. I think a lot of people are just waiting for the rate cut on Wednesday, as am I. I personally only have a bullish position right now in NVIDIA that I'm trading. I also have a position in Disney that I am admittedly bag holding. I've been bag holding this one for a while, but it's a small position, so I don't really care. I don't know. I'm not really worried about Disney long term. I'm just kind of whatever, letting it play out, let it do its thing. I don't really care. But in terms of like trading, NVIDIA is the only stock I'm currently owning in my trading accounts, right? In my trading accounts. But yeah, all in all, that's just kind of what I have for you, ladies and gentlemen. NVIDIA video coming up next, of course. If you're interested in that, definitely check it out. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.